Thank you for coming. I do apologize about the circumstances. There's not much I can do. If you want to lay down here in front, I mean, that's fine by me, but can understand it's not very comfortable. So yeah, my name is Alexander Chatzizacharias. It's a little bit of a tricky last name, I've heard. To me, it's very easy. I have a couple of hobbies. I really like bouldering. I have a way too expensive Magic the Gathering card collection. Any other Magic the Gathering people here? Anybody that spent way too much money on the game? Good to know that I'm not the only one. And I play a lot of games, like really a lot of games. But you'll probably, probably something gave it away if you look at the title of this talk. I've heard that my last name is a little bit tricky, so I have a little bit of a hack to make it easier for people to read. So I'll just assume most of us are Java programmers. And if you look at my last name, it is much shorter than your average Java method name. So if we just do it like that, should be fairly easy, right? I work at a company called JDriven here in the Netherlands, in Utrecht. We also have a stand. The boss is over there. Hi, boss. So yeah, that is all I have to say about me. So let's get into, well, the origin story of this talk. Does anybody know Unity 3D? A lot of people, pretty cool. So Unity 3D is a game engine, and that's the game engine I've been using to make games. I studied games, and after I studied games, I decided for myself I don't want to go into the game industry, but I do want to keep making games. And last year, Unity did a little bit of enshittification, as we like to call it. They tried to charge a lot of money out of their users. Nobody liked that, of course. And then I was like, OK, I need something else. Unity is not OK anymore. What do I use then? Do I go to Unreal, or do I go to Godot, or something like that? And I've been going to a couple of conferences past year. And there is this one quote by Trisha G. and Holly Cummins. Productivity is messing around and having fun. And I really agree with that quote. I do think productivity is when you are the most productive when you're having fun. And so if you think about it, if you are truly want to be productive, you need to have an IDE, an integrated development environment, where you can mess around and have fun, right? And that was a little bit how the idea started. OK, then I need to be able to play games in IntelliJ, because that is what I use every single day. Anybody here that uses NetBeans, Eclipse, Vim? Nice. OK, so who uses IntelliJ? So, OK, so this is what we call a monopoly, by the way. And I know somebody from JetBrains is looking at this and is like, yeah. So yeah, IntelliJ, you could say, is, well, the big giant in our industry when it comes to Java programming. So I decided, OK, is it possible to make games in IntelliJ, using IntelliJ? So that is what I want to show you today. I don't know if I'm going to teach you stuff or not, maybe. If you have questions, remarks, insults, feel free to just shout them. I will just go with it. So yeah, that's about it. Of course, when you start with something like that, there was a project like this, there are some rules you need to put up for yourself. You can't make it too easy for yourself, right? So the first one is I will not use GCEF, or so-called Java Chromium Embedded Framework. This is an open source library that basically IntelliJ uses to embed a small Chromium web framework in their IDE, and you can use that to render HTML. So with things like that, it would be very easy to just grab any game on the internet, render it in IntelliJ, and then suddenly you can use IntelliJ as a game engine. Is anybody really good at Wordle, by any chance? Anybody that knows the word of today? Tough. I tried. I will not try to solve the world on the stage, but as you can see, it would be very easy to just render whatever you want and have it there and say, okay, I'm using IntelliJ as a game engine. So that is not what we'll be doing. Of course, I play a lot of games. I really play a lot of games. Maybe a bit too much if I listen to the people around me. Any other gamers here? Quick question, who games more than 10 hours a day? A week. I went straight to the most extreme. 10 hours a week? 20 hours a week? Let's say 25 hours a week. That is where I tap out nowadays. Oh, rookie numbers. 30 hours a week. We have still 2 people in the race. 40 hours a week. 45 hours a week. Okay, yeah. And what do you play?
Everything.
Everything. Oh, well done.
2,000 Steam games.
2,000 Steam games. Well, I was afraid you were going to say League of Legends, so it's good that you didn't say that. I will not be using any game libraries for anything here. So there's one very popular, it's called the lightweight Java game library. Theoretically, you could use that to make everything your life easier. Well, we're programmers. I'm a backend developer myself, so I hate everything that makes my life easier. So we won't be using that. And we will try to be using the code as assets. So whatever we see on the screen has to become an asset in what we're going to be playing, or at least try to do that. So yeah, our stack. Well, of course, I'm going to be using IntelliJ. Who here knows the feedback sandwich? A couple people, so yeah. So the feedback sandwich, the idea is when you want to give feedback to someone, you start with something nice, then you go with something bad, and then you end up with something nice. So on a totally unrelated note, JetBrains is an amazing company. IntelliJ is great, works perfectly 99% of the time. But that said, I am going to maybe burn some bridges here today. So let's see how that goes. So I'll be using Kotlin to program all the plugins you see. I'm going to be using the IntelliJ plugin platform for everything. Kotlin, by the way, I use because it is, in my opinion, the best way to program on the JVM. Try to change my mind. And who knew that IntelliJ was built using Java Swing? A couple of people. So yeah, IntelliJ is built using Java Swing. Who here has worked with Java Swing? My condolences. Now I can also say I work with Java Swing, and I hate it. Especially coming from game engine like Unity, and then having to work with Java Swing, suddenly like your whole world crumbles. Everything you thought was reality just vanishes. But yeah, so we'll be using Java Swing. And with that, I think we are ready to go towards the first game I made. So a question to you guys. What do you think is this game? Which game launched the video game industry? E.T. No, E.T. crushed it. But yes, I'm referring to Pong. So yeah, I mean, I started with a game. Wanted to verify that what I tried to do is actually possible. And then, well, a good starting point, of course, is then the first video game arguably ever made, which is Pong. So yeah, I have a little bit of a demo project here. Wait, let me open this as well. And then it's a Java file, and then we can launch an intention, a little bit of spoiler maybe, and then we can play some Pong. And immediately miss the first one. And as you can see, the ball goes nicely up and down, and it bounces off all the letters. So I got some review the other time. Like, so you saw it bounced off the creating an instance of the dummy class of that comment, and I was like, yeah, comments shouldn't actually be bounceable, and that is actually very good feedback. And I suck at it. Oh my god. And as you can see, it goes to the right, and then player one gets score. And then if we go there, and then maybe now we'll be able to push it. Yeah, as you can see, it's a little bit unfair, maybe. But that's OK, because life is not fair. So we're teaching people quickly that things are just not fair. Yeah, that just keeps going on and on. So this is, I mean, we have some basic collision detection, some basic physics. The game industry is mesmerizing, right? Once it goes. The game industry is all about fake it till you make it. So that is exactly what I did here. There's no NVIDIA physics engine underneath this. It's all just basic vector math, actually. So anybody that programmed in Unity before? A couple people. So there's a class there called the vector2 class that encapsulates two float numbers. This is basically a 101 carbon copy of that class. And it allows me to encode and encapsulate positions in the 2D space and what we call a vector in a 2D space or a direction. So I don't know if you've been to AI talks today, you've maybe heard the word vector a lot or embedding. That is vectors how they are talked about nowadays, but we are going back to the 80s when the vectors were just numbers, encapsulating positions and directions. And everything you see moving around in the Java Swing world uses this data structure underneath to just do whatever we want to do. All right, so we have Pong. After Pong, there was a game that released that was hugely popular. Really a system seller. Anybody got an idea? Tetris. Yeah. Stacy Atari Breakout. Yeah, that's also a good one. But yeah, Space Invaders. And now we're getting a little bit in the theme of today. I called it State Invaders because from now on, every game I make has a theme, and the theme is the cardinal sins of a backend developer. And introducing state in your backend has to be one of the biggest sins you could do. No, 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 no. We don't do that. So State Invaders. So what are we going to try to do here is actually, wait, let me remove this line. It's not that interesting anymore. What we're going to try to do is go through our code base, everything, find stateful variables, and well, get rid of them somehow. So time to abolish the state. I'm not trying to radicalize you. I know Trump just got elected, but that is not what I'm trying to do here. With state, I truly mean state in your backend systems. All right, and of course, we can make a very nice main menu, as you would expect from an arcade game, State Invaders, and then, as you can see, I tucked the code away there so you don't lose it. And then, of course, as it says, start to play the game, so start. And you can even introduce cutscenes, because, I mean, we're playing games, so cutscenes are necessary. Is anybody that recognizes what this reference is? All your base? Yeah, all your base what? So I've shown this to a couple of colleagues that, let's say, are a bit younger, and they were looking at me like, did you get a stroke? Your English is all over the place. And then for the first time in a long time, I felt really old. But yeah, so this is all your base are belong to us, one of the popular internet memes of the 2000s. And as you can see here, we have your stateful variables going left and right and trying to abolish you. And you, of course, can fight back. And as you can see there is an AI-powered calculation that calculates what the chance is of your production crashing. It's 80% now, 77, 74. It's real-time AI-powered metrics on how good your application is. So let's see if we can bring it down to 0%. And of course, I do suck at the own games I make, so I have God mode. I can't die. There we go. So chance of production crashing is 0%. Just that easy. Just download this plugin, play it, get rid of your stateful variables, and then all is good. Now you say, this is nice, but are you actually getting rid of your stateful variables? Yes. So we go in this repo. For every single variable, it is removed. The line where it's introduced is removed from your code base. And if you want, you can force push commit it. Some people told me, yeah, you just need to do that. One theme that you'll see through the whole talk is I do not care about compilation anymore. I just want these things gone. All right. So now we have Space Invaders. After Space Invaders, there was a game that really launched one company's entrance to the game industry, and was the biggest system seller the world had ever seen to that point. Pac-Man. As you can see, I write it with a K there, Pac-Man, because there's another cardinal sin a backend developer can do. In the front-end world, this is super normal, but in backend world, we hate this, and that is dependencies. Those mother. Oh. Do you want to? Don't tempt me with a good time. Maybe I'll release it for you. All right, so, and I hope the sound will work for this. So now, what we're doing now, you saw a little loading bar. You get that for free from IntelliJ. You just have to write 2 lines of code, say this is the job I want to do, and it will create a loading bar for you. Amazing. But what we did is we scanned through all the whole code for the dependencies. So if you use Maven, it checks your Maven file, your Maven XML, POM XML. I mean, sorry, Robert. If you use Gradle, which is my preference, again, sorry, Robert, it checks your build file, or it can even check your IntelliJ build file. It will check for your dependencies. It will look through your whole Git history to see who introduced a new dependency and when, with a commit message. Then we can tap Start. And we grab the dependencies, those lines, and we create a maze out of it. And then, as you can see, every ghost represents the scenes of our past selves with a commit message of who and when introduced the dependency. For example, you can see langchain4j because we've got to do something with AI, data faker. I see added logging framework, log4j for increased security. And of course, you can walk around. Who knows what sound Pac-Man makes? Waka, waka, waka. Well, that is super copyrighted. But I got the next best thing.
Java, 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 Java.
Who knows who this is?
Java, 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 Java.
Ricardo. If only. Marit? It is Venkat. And you do know Venkat, probably. He also gave a session a bit earlier. Now, a little bit unfortunate. Everything is completely random, of course. So I want to eat one of the ghosts. But like, it is really tricky to get to the ghosts because it's a maze. So I should have thought about it a little bit better. So let's see, because we're getting very close to that one over there. Yeah, there we got it. Yay. And and of course, if you eat it up, we immediately remove the dependency from your build file. Get it out of here. That's not for us. And also interesting, I mean, maybe you can commit this and see how your colleagues react. But if you look closely, the maze is built up using the strings of the dependencies. So org unit, .platform unit. So the more dependencies you have, the crazier the maze becomes. Yes. I have this thing every time I given a presentation that it may be a little bit childish, but I really want to show an explosion. So I mean, there is no better time than now, I guess. Boom goes the dynamite. And then if you're really frustrated and you're like, okay, this bug has been screwing with me for days, then you can blow it up. Stupid code, stupid bug. And to me, it's so funny that IntelliJ still tries, you know, like it will give you the compilation errors. It will tell you, hey, this is not really okay. I expect a semicolon here. Well, at least the array list is still a thing here. And of course, I mean, this has to be the funniest thing ever. Can you imagine opening a pull request with like a message, I fixed it, and then your colleague sees something like this? Should try it. So yeah, so it's even possible to simulate physics and everything like that in IntelliJ, if you so wish to. So now we had Pac-Man. We have seen that we can also, using IntelliJ, we can look at our dependencies. We can scan for mutable variables. By the way, that is all done using something called the PSI, which stands for project structure or program or project. Thank you. It's so handy my edit is here. Program structure interface, which basically creates like this whole tree of your whole program with, okay, this is the class, and this class has these methods, and this method has these variables, and these variables are over these lines, et cetera, et cetera. So you can just scan everything you need and just match whatever you want and just hold it in a reference, and then you can do, well, things like this with it, if that is what you want to do. All right, so let's see if we can make a platformer. That would be fun. So we are around the 90s now. Anybody got a clue which game we'll be talking about? Mario. That is super copyrighted, guys. We can Nintendo is a no-no. But if another Japanese company. Sonic, yes. Those are litigating a little bit, you know, less. But just to be sure, we have Sonic, the test dog, not Sonic, the test dog. So completely different entities, so to say. And what is something that all backend engineers do or do not do? Tests. Sorry? Take down production. Yeah. I mean, I've never taken down production. My colleagues are like, are you sure about that? All right. So yeah, tests. So I have a couple tests here. They're just whatever, super nice. And what we want to do is we want to make something that really emphasizes the importance of tests in your projects. That tests are there for a reason and should be grateful of your unit tests and, you know, handle them with care. So that is why we made Sonic the test dog. Gotta go fast. Oh, this time we need to type "We love Scrum." 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, the little blue thing that is totally Sonic, or better said, totally not Sonic. And we have Dr. Velocitnik on the other side. So full-fledged cutscene animations, no problem for IntelliJ. You can do that with a couple lines of code. And he's telling us that he went through our code base, took our unit tests, which means we cannot ship our changes reliably because we need the unit tests, right? But of course, he's an evil genius, gives us a way to ruin his plans, and we can find him in car.java. And there he will crush us once and for all. So it is almost as you're playing a Sega game, right? So back to 30, all right. And now it takes a little bit of, as you can see here, we have Sonic, walking around and picking up coins. And then you might think, these coins, what are they? Well, each coin represents a unit test. So you have to pick up your unit tests, and you need those coins to defeat the evil Dr. Velocitnik. And of course, if you get hit, the coins float away, which of course also means the tests are deleted. For always gone. But this is really nice because you can really use, again, a PSI and some other APIs that check what your testing framework is and things like that to actually isolate unit tests and then delete them, if that is what you want to do. And of course, you can run around, and then we have to go to Java. As you can see, they are going faster and faster for some reason. I have to say, all these things are, of course, highly experimental. They might or might not work. I don't know. But so far, so good. And then I'll just grab a shortcut. And then you can see here we're in car to Java. So you can actually go from file to file, from class to class, using this structure. And maybe one of you feels like creating a full-fledged adventure in IntelliJ where you move through your whole code base and explore everything and anything. As you see, he is a full-fledged boss as well, with with different states, animations, attacks, and everything like that. But I'll make it easier for myself. Wait here, because as oh my God, come on. There we go. As every good boss, he has a weak spot, and then you can jump on him and kill him, and like that, you save your unit tests. Yay. And then you lose them again. All right. So yeah, as you can see, all of them are encapsulated in an object. The reference is there, and you can just yeet them away whenever you feel like it. All right. Before I move to the next one, I have a little bit of a question. Who here can type blind? I mean, we're programmers, I would just say most of us, right? Who here thinks I'm a really fast typer? A couple people, yeah, maybe. Anybody that's really confident about that? Oh, I see here's one. Yusuf also, good, okay. Do not forget this. So we're taking a little bit of a jump now to 2000 plus. And there was this revolution. There was a certain game that, I mean, back then I was 20, 21 or something. Everybody played this. Who knows this? Guitar Hero. Who had one of the nice plastic, the drums? Oh, your mother would have been very happy with you, huh? I knew I bought the drums, played them once, and they just went away. So yeah, we're gonna do Guitar Hero, but a little bit different, Code Hero. So we're gonna see if we can create true programming rock stars, because that is what you always hear on LinkedIn, right? We're going to do that using a little game called Osu. Anybody know Osu? Great, a couple people. So it is an open source game where you see these balls on your screen, and then you have to click them on the beat of the music. And this is an easy map. And this is how it looks like when people are very good at it. Which is not me, by the way. But what's really nice about OSU is that it's open source, and that means the beat maps. And a beat map is basically a text file that says, at this millisecond, this beat, there is a beat. And they're all open source. So I went on the OSU forums, I grabbed a couple of songs, parsed the beat maps, and tried to make Code Hero instead of, well, Guitar Hero. So, but yeah, of course, it is tied to a cardinal sin. Anybody got any clue out of the blue what that could be in this age of AI even? Copy and pasting. Oh yeah, I do that every day. So copy and pasting, we all do it, of course. But the problem with copy and pasting is you just copy something, you paste it, and you never really look at it again. And you're like, and I figured maybe we can make something to make that a little bit more interactive for people. So what we're going to do is, every time somebody's going to paste something, he has to paste it on the beat of the music, letter for letter. Prove you are the code rockstar you think you are. So here we're going to paste something, paste action detected, so we're grabbing that event. Time to prove you're a real code rockstar. And a little intro music. All right, let's see how good I am. Yeah. And there we are, and then you can just continue for fun. But you can see it is pasted, it is there. And like that, you need to type, and I'm making it easy for people because you don't have to do the spaces and the semicolons and the stuff like that. Only the letters and the numbers. So, you know, we're cutting people some slack. So, who thought he was a fast typer? Come. Hi, what's your name?
Jan Hendrik.
Jan Hendrik. So you're a fast typer. Very fast, or?
On my own keyboard, yes.
Oh, the disclaimers. All right.
I have a high score somewhere of 1.2 seconds for typing the alphabet. But
Oh, the alphabet. Well, I mean.
That's not what we're going to type, probably, right?
So I copied this from the dummy class to the person. So paste action detected on the beat of the music. It is a, let's see, it's a medium amount of text. Let's see how you'll do. So it is a Dutch keyboard, so, or English. I'm a huge metal guy, by the way. It gets a little bit used to, huh? No, it's not very forgiving about mistakes. Do you feel adventurous? All right. So that's a bit tricky. So, as I said, I'm a huge metal fan. Do you like metal music?
I like metal too,
Yeah?
yeah.
Oh, that's very fortunate.
Please say you don't have the Through the Fire and Flames in here.
I will not say it then. But I'm afraid. Because if you make something like this, there's one game, one song
yeah.
that you always have to try and beat. And that is Through the Fire and the Flames by Dragon Force. Well, at least you can go as fast as you want now.
I'm better at it.
Yeah? Thank you. So I hope Dragonforce doesn't see this and he's like, hey, is he allowed to do that? So yeah, and that is how you can how you can higher up engagement with your programmers. Make sure they really understand what they're copy pasting of ChatGPT or Stack Overflow or stuff like that, you know. Make sure no bugs get pasted into your programs, because of course you'll see that if you type it letter by letter. All right. So yeah, as you can see, I made a couple games to see if what I can do with IntelliJ, and actually went quite much further than I anticipated when I started doing this. What's really funny, I gave this talk at Devox in Belgium, and JetBrains had a booth there. So I went to talk to them with a couple of people, and they looked at me and was like, that is not supposed to work. So I looked at them, yeah, what do you want me to say? He does. So yeah, apparently it's not supposed to work, but it does. But of course, I do have some feature requests for JetBrains when it comes to IntelliJ. I hope you'll take it seriously. Please add MP3-WAV support, because I had to use the Java libraries for this, and while okay, it is not great. So if JetBrains were to add, official support for sounds, that would be great. I do think they would greatly enhance the platform if you, could add little sounds to all the buttons you clicked and everything. So think about it. Please de-deprecate PNG support. They deprecated a couple versions ago, which is a little bit sad because, while all the icons, of course, work with SFGs and things like that, vector graphics, when you are building games, you typically want to use PNG because you really need that transparency and for your tile sets and things like that. So yeah, it would be nice if it was not if I didn't get a deprecation warning that I had to ignore every single time now. And while we already also add GIF support, would make my life also easier, because now I had to do shenanigans like, I do load a couple GIFs, like this, but I have to play it separately in a separate frame and things like that. It's a little bit tricky. And if I wanted to do it better, more smooth, I needed to use so-called sprite sheets. Anybody seen sprite sheets before? Exactly. So I had to grab a sprite sheet. Oh no, now that we're at it, maybe add sprite sheet support as well. If we're asking things, because now I have to manually calculate how many sprites these are, and if I go to, for example, Zonic here, when I load the sprites, for example, I have to, okay, these are the standing sprites, these are the running sprites, things like that, which could be easier, if there was an API for it. Just a thought. There is this API when you're developing plugins. Anybody that developed plugins for, yeah? Have you ever used GB Color? So it is a wrapper around the color class of Java Swing, and GB stands for JetBrains. But the APIs around it are really, really kind of meh. So if somewhere where I use it, let's see. So here we have, I'm setting for the musical lines in the code hero. I'm using white lines, but let's say I want white, but let's say I want it super white because now it was a little bit gray. I need to do brighter, and then if I want it even brighter, I need to do brighter, and if I want brighter, I need to do brighter. And I have to put like 6 of them to make it white. actually white and not JetBrains white. Which is a little bit of a shame. So it would be nice if I could just pass here maybe a value like 0, and then we'll have the whitest of the whites. Oh, scratch that. I did not say that. Different gray. Not orange. So when you write something in IntelliJ using IntelliJ plugin system, basically you submit. When you say I want to write something, you submit it into a queue, sometime in a write queue, and then IntelliJ will pick it up when it thinks it has the resources to handle that write action for you, which is nice. I mean, that's probably the reason why IntelliJ works. But what's a little bit unfortunate is that I don't have control over when that write action actually happens or when it's done. So a callback or something like that, because now I have to submit something to write and then wait a couple of seconds, then you have to do that thread.sleep thing. Or I mean, I use Kotlin, so I just run it in a coroutine and say delay. Yay, Kotlin. But it would be really nice to have a lot of control, be able to say, okay, I'm submitting a write action. Let me know when it's actually written on the UI, and then I can do my things. Because, if you're making games, typically you want to react to things that happen on the UI or written on the UI. All right. So also very nice it would be to have an API to get the latest time between draw frames. If you work with Unity, this is what we call a delta time. So knowing how much time it took for JetBrains or for IntelliJ to render 2 frames in IntelliJ. And I can use that time to become so-called frame rate independent. So because I didn't show you, I completely forgot. If we go to, for example, Pong game, you can see at all the top that all the games crisp 120 frames per second. This is what you want. I don't understand what the problem is with EA and all the big game companies struggling to even get 30 frames per second. I got 120 in IntelliJ. So I don't know what the problem is here. But now I have like my own game logic in a separate coroutine where I have complete control over the timing, and then I just need to continuously, submit to the draw step of IntelliJ, and hopefully it's drawn at a nicely frame rate. That is also when you saw, maybe some very keen-eyed people here saw when I was scrolling up and down in games that things were speeding up, animations were speeding up, things like that. That is because those animations were tied to the frame rate of IntelliJ and not my own internal frame rate. And that means as a scroll, you're asking IntelliJ to redraw, you're forcing redraws, so the whole animation timings go faster. And what would really be nice is I wanted him to change color based on the letter you were standing on. But getting the color of the letter underneath you was pure hell. There is no API for that. You have to go through the color scheme that you use, ask, okay, I'm standing on a variable. What is the color of a variable, or what is the color of a keyword? What is the color of a class? Things like that, and then get the color. And that was horrible. So just an API like letter.getColor would be amazing. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm asking for much here. This is pretty much everything I have. And I don't know, I've shown IntelliJ can be a pretty nice game engine, I think. So if JetBrains wants to go into, new waters, let me know. So yeah, there's one last thing I want to give with you. I had a lot of fun doing this. I think my first commit in the repo was back in April, beginning of April. I worked on it from April all the way to October. I had super fun. Having these ideas, I like, oh, this is crazy. This is never going to work. And then you get busy, and then you actually start seeing results. And that feeling you get when you see your idea actually working, It is better than it is better than seeing 100,000 lines of code be deleted in a pull request. You have a very nice red pull request. So what I want to tell you is coding is your superpower. Don't forget that. Not a lot of people in the world can handle computers as well as we can. Don't use it wisely. Just go out there, make whatever you want. Whatever crazy idea you have, just try it out. See what happens, what comes of it. I mean, this was also a crazy idea. It turned out to be a talk at a conference. I even got a cool shirt from JetBrains because of it. So, you know, worst case scenario, you get a shirt, maybe. Experiment around, fool around, do whatever you want. There's a better word for this, but I don't think I'm allowed to share it. So fool around, find out. And most importantly, have fun. So maybe you heard a lot of people telling you, yeah, pet projects, that's a very good way to learn. And then, I don't know, to me, that kind of puts me immediately in this mindset, okay, if I do a pet project, it has to be, I don't know, Quarkus, because I've always used Spring Boot, so it's time to learn Quarkus. And in the end, I really disagree with that. Whatever it is, any crazy idea, if it is like, maybe playing musical chairs with your code or something. I'm just shouting things now. Just try it out. And maybe next year I'll be sitting here seeing one of these offbeat experiments that one of you did. So that would be really cool. So yeah, can IntelliJ be used as a game engine? I think it can. The actual answer to the question is up to you, if it can or not. But there is one last thing that always needs to be verified and checked to make sure something is actually compatible to become a game engine. One last visibility check. Anybody got a clue? Can it run Doom? Who here thinks that IntelliJ can run Doom? And yeah, of course, you can run Doom in IntelliJ without too many issues, actually. I'm using an open source library called Mochadoom, which rewrote Doom in Java. And once that was there, with a jar, it was quite easy to run Doom in IntelliJ. Oh, OK, yeah, that's enough now. So yeah, that is all I had to say today and show. So thank you very much. The code is on GitHub if you, for some reason, you want to look at it. So you can take a look, see how I did things. Put your question marks around things I did. I also, for some things, I also really don't know how they work, but they do. So yeah, and if you have cool ideas of what a cool game could be in IntelliJ, yeah, let me know, and then who knows, maybe I'll make it for the next version of this talk. So yeah, thank you very much. So I have time for one question, I think, roughly. Who is the chosen one? Anybody got a question? It is not in the plugin library, but who wants it to be on the plugin marketplace? Oh, and here I thought I was done with it, huh? All right. Any other questions? I don't know. I've never tried. Probably nothing. It should probably work, but I'll. It was you are coloring Zwing components, the UI, so not the letters. So I assume it's the same. Assumption, eh? Assumption. Okay, last question. All right, oh, that was it. Thank you very much.